Chapter 3 Shadows of Doubt. Anna sat in the back of the police car. Her mind continued brimming with anxiety as the cityscape blurred past the window. The events of the morning replayed in her head like a broken record. The sound of the shot, the sight of Charlie's lifeless body, and the panicked flight from the range all melded together in a nightmare that continued to haunt her. Now outside the seeming safety of her home, the feeling that she was being watched, that the shooter might still be out there, waiting, returned with renewed force. She tried to occupy her mind, watching people in other vehicles gliding past them, when she noticed a male biker approaching their car on her side. He rode a sleek, high-performance motorcycle, its deep blue body polished to a smooth sheen. The machine's frame was compact yet powerful, built for both speed and agility, with a low aerodynamic windshield and sturdy tyres gripping the pavement. The man himself was dressed in a well-fitted black motorcycle jacket with subtle padding along the shoulders and elbows. His dark jeans were reinforced, practical for long rides, and his gloved hands rested comfortably on the handlebars with an air of experience. He quickly caught up with the police car and then suddenly paused at her window, hovering at the same speed, riding close and looking straight at her. She couldn't see his face, hidden by the white and blue motorcycle helmet with a polarized visor. But the encounter made her gasp loudly, and she recoiled from the car window as if she saw a ghost. The police officers seated in the front, alarmed by her reaction, looked towards the back seat, but noticing nothing unusual, they only exchanged glances and continued their run-of-the-mill conversation. When she looked out the window again, there was no biker in sight. As they pulled up to the police station, her sense of dread intensified even further. The sterile, cold environment of the building seemed to be designed to make people uncomfortable. "Right this way, Miss Thompson," one of the officers instructed coolly, guiding her through the hallways. The walls were lined with wanted posters and official notices. Endless doors interrupting the wall at odd intervals led to unknown offices or maybe interrogation rooms. It turned out that the only elevator was out of service, so they led her up the steep stairs, the climb only adding to her growing sense of doom. She was led into a small, stifling office on the third floor. The heat of the midsummer noon seeped into the room, making it unbearably hot, despite the small fan and occasional draft from the big wide open window that took roughly 2/3 of the wall opposite the door. An unsightly man sat behind the desk, his back to the window. He was a morbidly obese and untidy individual with a sweat-soaked grey shirt clinging to his frame and a sour expression on his face. The sight of him was immediately repulsive to Anna. "Detective Mason, at your service, ma'am. Have a seat." Mason croaked his greeting, motioning to the chair opposite him. Anna complied, feeling the hard, uncomfortable chair beneath her. Mason's office was cluttered, with papers strewn about, and an unpleasant odour lingered in the air. The detective wiped his forehead with a stained handkerchief, his beady eyes never leaving Anna. "Let's get to the point," he offered, his voice rough and unwelcoming. "We've found a casing at the scene that matches your gun. A weapon has been found at the crime scene and is being checked for fingerprints, which we will compare against yours. Something tells me we will have a match." Anna stared at the detective, speechless. The situation was worse than she had imagined. They didn't bring her in as a witness. She is a suspect in their eyes. "You're wrong, sir. I didn't shoot Charlie. He was my friend," That's not what the evidence suggests, Mason returned, leaning back. His chair emitted a pitiful creak. Plus, you left the scene of the murder, which doesn't exactly make you look innocent.
I panicked, Anna protested hotly. I thought whoever shot Charlie might come after me too.
Mason sneered. A convenient excuse. But we don't deal with convenience or excuses, Miss Thompson. We deal with facts, and the facts aren't looking good for you. He slightly raised his eyebrows and tapped with a meaty index finger a thin dossier on his desk to emphasize the seriousness of the situation. Anna felt a surge of resentment washing over her.
I would never hurt Charlie. He was behind me when I was shooting. It would be impossible.
Mason leaned forward, his beady eyes narrowing to a slit. Did Charlie tell you anything before he died? Maybe about some enemies? Someone who might want him dead?
No, Anna replied tearfully. Charlie was a good person. He never mentioned anyone wanting to harm him, and I can't imagine anyone wanting him dead.
Mason's expression relaxed slightly, while remaining cold and unpleasant. I see. Well, for now, you're not going anywhere. I'm going to have to keep you here until further notice, Miss Thompson.
Anna's heart pounded in her chest. You can't do that. I didn't do anything wrong.
In response, Mason stood up, reaching for the handcuffs in a desk's drawer. Now, that's not up to you to decide. The room suddenly felt even hotter. The small fan and the draught from the window were powerless against the scorching heat. As Mason moved to cuff her, Anna shuffled in her seat and instinctively tried to slide as far away from the man as she could. She felt trapped, cornered by circumstances beyond her control. The detective's harsh demeanour and the grim reality of her situation pushed her to her limits. Anna glanced at the tall tree covered in foliage just behind the detective's malevolent form. Its leaves rustled softly in the breeze, branches swaying ever so gently. The sight of it offered her a brief moment of solace amidst the madness that was unravelling inside the detective's office, and made her think of home. Her thoughts drifted back to her grandmother, Lily, and to the comfort of their home. She longed to be back there, away from this nightmare.
Please,
Anna whispered shakily, her voice breaking.
If you're going to lock me away, at least I need to call my grandmother. She'll be worried.
Mason halted for a moment, processing this unexpected request, then gestured to one of the officers. All right, let her make the call, but it must be a short one. The officer handed Anna a phone, and she dialed Lily's number, glancing around her nervously. The call connected, and she heard her grandmother's worried voice at the other end. Annie, what's happening?
Grandma, I'm still at the police station. They think I had something to do with Charlie's death. They want me to stay at the station for some time. I need you to be calm and not worry. I didn't do it. I'll be back soon.
Lily gasped.
Oh, Anna, I know you didn't. We'll get through this. Stay strong, my dear. Everything will be okay.
As Anna hung up the phone, she felt a small measure of comfort from her grandmother's words of support. But the reality of her situation was still daunting. She was now entangled in a web of suspicion and danger far beyond her understanding, and it was unclear how she would find her way out. Meanwhile, Mason watched her closely, deep in thoughts of his own. Officers, why don't you both take a break? I'll handle things from here. The two officers looked at him in confusion, but complied immediately and left the room. The door clicked shut behind them, and Anna felt even more vulnerable after their departure. Now, Mason winked at her and wiped sweat running down his enormous forehead and temples covered with lumps of greasy hair. Let's talk about how you can make this easier for yourself. His tone had shifted, becoming disturbingly suggestive. Anna's stomach churned as Mason's sleazy gaze slowly roved over her. You know, he continued, there are ways to make this whole thing with the evidence and whatnot go away. You just have to be cooperative.
What are you talking about? Anna exclaimed with disgust and fear.
Mason's leer was unmistakable. He licked his lips hesitantly. I am a man, and I see that you're an attractive woman, Miss Thompson. I'm sure we can come to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement. Revulsion swept over her, mingling with the panic that was already gripping her heart. She had never felt more cornered, more powerless, more disgusted. Summoning every ounce of courage, Anna met his gaze with flaming defiance.
Over my dead body!
Mason stopped abruptly. His slimy smile faded, replaced by a disappointed sneer. Well now, suit yourself. But remember, you're in my hands. I might ask the same question again later, and you'd better have a more agreeable attitude then. With these words he grunted discontentedly, stood up, and grabbed the handcuffs from his desk again.
Thank you so much for listening. If this chapter meant something to you, please like the video, follow the channel, and leave a comment. I'd really love to hear your thoughts. The link to the next chapter is waiting in the description.